Everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Today we're going to talk about sauna. Now, saunas have been around for an unusual amount of time. The idea of heating the body up and creating health benefits. And it's been something that's been discovered in different cultures that have never spoken to each other. And if you're looking for a higher truth, imagine something that is independently discovered as beneficial in two different cultures that never communicated. Most people will sort of associate saunas with Nordic cultures. In Finland, they're obsessive about saunas, and I believe that's where the sauna Olympics is. If I want to look up something entertaining, look at people in a sauna Olympics. They basically cook themselves in a sauna. They see how long they can take it. It's pretty entertaining. But Native American cultures have things that we refer to as Indian sweats. I've been on one of them where they build this inipi. It's like a teepee without a top on it. And you get this giant fire outside of that structure, cook these rocks so they're super hot, like red hot all day in this giant fire. Then at night you roll them in this little pit in the center, and then you pour water on them and you create a sauna, like a wet sauna. And you cook away in there and you can do all kinds of stuff. So if two cultures have developed a respect for this superheating of the body, and developed a bit of the health benefits were becoming obvious, it must be a higher truth. That's how I look at things. You can do all the research you want. Research is fantastic, but observation and the test of time really does do a lot as well. So let's say that we can soundly say that saunas have benefits that have been discovered all over the world. And now with some great research and observation, we can say these saunas are really doing something amazing. Now, I'm going to do 6 benefits of a sauna. There are more than what I'm going to list here. These are the ones I thought were more interesting, had a little bit of research and a little more popular, or they're newer understandings of what saunas can do. Now, obviously, there's steam rooms and saunas. Let's differentiate that. A sauna, we consider it a dry sauna, meaning there isn't any steam or water. Some saunas, like the one I have in my house, I have an old-fashioned kind of heat coil sauna that I can pour water on and create steam. Create some amount of moisture in the air, but it's not as steamy as a steam room, just to have the benefits of moisture in the air. Other times, dry saunas, which I think are the ones that we're going to talk about today, I think have more benefits because that dry heat tends to get inside your body, make you really sweat, and detoxify your body in a really great way. So the benefits of a sauna, now they create stress, right? Being in extreme heat stresses your body. So before you ever take a sauna, you want to make sure you check with your healthcare physician to make sure that you can tolerate that kind of heat. You want to be well hydrated. You want to make sure you're questioning as to the medication you might be on. And you want to start out very slow. We're going to go over that at the end, exactly how slow and the temperatures to get started with. Because you really don't want to overdo it and end up, because people can pass out. And we don't need that. So the benefits of exercise, we all know. Right? Multiple benefits. You can go on forever and talk about that. What's interesting is saunas give you a very similar and sometimes the same benefits of exercise. You think about it, when you go in a sauna, your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up a little bit, which in exercise is good. It's not like a true elevated long-term high blood pressure. Your respiration goes up and you start sweating. So think of that and put that into how exercise and saunas have that in common. And if there's benefits to doing that in exercise, there must be some benefits in a sauna, plus more. And there's things that exercise does that saunas don't do. You're not going to build muscle through resistance training in a sauna. Well, some people do. They lift weights in a sauna. I don't suggest anyone tries that unless they're extremely fit. Saunas have similar effects, though, to exercise. But first one, let's go over the 6, longevity. They did a study where they took people in Finland, and they put them in a sauna 3 times per week. And they did this over a long period of time. They looked at people who were doing these 3 times a week saunas because they loved the way it felt. They saw the benefits. In over 20 years, they measured longevity. And it turned out the people in doing this 20 years worth of 3 times a week saunas, they had a 24% less chance of dying than the average person. So it actually enhanced their lifespan. So a 24% decrease in their ability to die during that time frame. So they lived way longer, is my point. You can measure it in years, you can measure it in decreased likelihood of dying. So basically, it increased the longevity of their life a significant amount. And you think, well, why is that? what are some of the physiological or physical reasons that that goes on? One of them they looked at is heat causes your body to expand, your blood vessels to have to expand to push blood around to cool you off. You think about how when people are hot, their skin is kind of red. And the reason is the blood vessels, the microvascular, the small parts of the blood vessels expand, and blood is brought to the surface to be cooled off. And then of course we perspire, we sweat, and that also cleans the body out, cleans the toxins out. So when you create that enhancement in blood supply, you are expanding and contracting blood vessels. So that creates a pliability. And when the blood vessels are more pliable, they're able to withstand changes in blood pressure and changes in stress in your life and be able to deliver oxygen deeper into the body. If you have better blood vessels, imagine as we get older, there's a lot of reasons why we're not as endurant. One of the reasons is we get a hardening of our blood vessels. Those blood vessels can't expand. They can't pull blood to and from tissue, push and pull blood to and from tissue as efficiently, and we fatigue. So we're not as good at athletics, and we aren't as good at tolerating making it through the whole day. So when people are older, they get tired more, they have to sleep more. And that is some of the reason is their blood vessels are actually hardening. So by heating the body like that, you expand and contract it, and you make these blood vessels more pliable. So you're getting oxygen deeper into the body. And that's an amazing thing. Another thing that in the area of longevity is autophagy. Now, autophagy is a word you can look up. It's Autophagy. It's an actual reaction in the body that is triggered during saunas and during a lot of very healthy things like exercise, where your body selects to break down cells that are not very valuable. Let's say a percentage of an organ in your body, as it's turning over and regrowing and restructuring itself, has some cells that are on the way out. When you get the autophagy reaction, what's happening is those cells are instantly metabolized very rapidly, and they're burned for fuel. So you're actually burning the not so great parts of your body off. And then what has happened, it triggers a response to make new cells. So you actually regrow parts of your body. You always do that, but you're regrowing parts of your body at a more efficient rate with autophagy. And heat, the heat of a sauna actually enhances that process. So if you can enhance the breakdown of the worst cells in your body and then trigger a reaction that grows new ones, you're basically renewing your body. So imagine how that adds to longevity if you're constantly breaking down the bad and making new ones. So just, an amazing way to do that. And the third thing under longevity, point number 1 out of 6, is that there is the production of heat shock proteins. We're going to talk about these in another, one of the other numbers on here, but a heat shock protein is a protein that has multiple benefits in the body. It's linked with a series of different reactions, which we're going to talk about in a second. So imagine that you can create a protein that helps do multiple processes in the body that are beneficial, related especially in the immune system, which we'll get to. So number 1 was longevity. Number 2, mental mood and acuity. Now, a sauna will increase norepinephrine. Now, that is a fight-flight hormone. And as you know, when we're under fight-flight, we're a little more aware. It could be overdone, right? Everything can come out of balance, and we can become, just in such a crazed state that we can't focus. But being stimulated with norepinephrine actually creates another chemical that sort of turns your brain on called prolactin. When prolactin is released, it improves your myelin. Now, so imagine that the myelin is just the coverings of your nervous system. So around the nerves that race through your body is an insulator. Think of a wire that has a plastic coat. Most of the wires that are running around, extension cords, you can't let that bare wire touch things because it'll shock people. Your nerves are like wires and they need insulation, and the insulation is called myelin. Now, when myelin thins out, you can have horrifying conditions like multiple sclerosis and autoimmune diseases as such. And if myelin isn't protective enough, if it thins, and it thins with age, our conductions, the power and ferocity of our nervous system is affected negatively. So you want good thick myelin, and that's something that prolactin can create. And with good nerves, imagine if we have all of our body is able to conduct at a faster rate, like having thicker, more productive wiring, from our thoughts to our reflexes to our ability to conduct and contract muscles, so we're stronger, and the whole body's connected in a much more powerful way. One of the other things also is throughout the body is that opioids are released, and that's linked to endorphins, and you know how those make people feel good as well. So when the body is put through like heat shock, what a sauna does, a tough word to use, but when you heat the body up like that, you release actual chemicals that outright make people feel good. So fantastic, right? Number 3, improve performance. Now, as an athlete or as a regular person who just wants to perform better, you want to do all the things in your life and have the energy to do them, it's great. Now, high heat, it challenges you, right? We said it's a stressor. And when you stress the body with heat, what you have to do is be efficient at cooling yourself off. And anytime we do something that we do it more, we get better at it. If we lift weights, we get stronger. If we read more books, we get smarter. So if we can challenge the body with heat, we can be very good at cooling off. So we learn to sweat better. We learn to push water through our system. We learn to open those blood vessels up and get the blood to the surface, which improves the color of your skin. Pigmentation of the skin is improved. All the phytonutrients from food that give us our nice different pink hues, and all those are brought to the surface. So when we get good at cooling off, when we are exercising or we are going through a day with a very physical challenging times, we can cool off more efficiently because we've trained it. We've trained, if you can cool off in a sauna, you can cool off when it's 80 degrees out and you're going for a walk, right? You'd be more effective at doing that, whether that means perspiring or changing how blood vessels open and close in different areas, or the rate at which we breathe. We open our mouth and we lose heat and moisture when we breathe. So they did some studies on some athletes about fatigue. So they took them and they said, okay, we're going to put these people in a sauna 30 minutes twice a week for 3 weeks. And we're going to see if we can improve their time to exhaustion. Now, time to exhaustion is something like this. Imagine if you said, okay, we're going to have this person run up a hill with a 20-pound weight vest on as fast as they can. And then when they feel like they can't take it anymore, we're going to stop the clock. Okay, so here goes a guy, 20-pound weight vest on, running up a hill. And in 3 minutes, he just drops to his knees. Like, that's all I got, right? Panting, ready to pass out. So extreme exertion. Then they did the sauna treatment, right? 30 minutes, twice a week for 3 weeks. They did the same test, 20-pound weight belts, running up a hill as fast as they can. It went to 4 minutes. So that equates to a 32% increase, roughly, in time to exhaustion. And that's major. I mean, that is major difference. Imagine an athlete that's in a fatigable sport like that, like endurance running, cycling, and they're able to improve that significantly. I mean, that's incredible, right? So they then said, okay, let's do some blood work to see what that's about. And it turns out there was a 7.1% increase in blood plasma volume. So they basically had better plasma, more plasma in their bloodstream. And they had a 3.5% increase in red blood cell count. So imagine having 3.5% more red blood cells. Red blood cells, transport oxygen. That's what people do when they train at altitude. They try to get as many red blood cells, and they come down at sea level and they can perform better. That's happening in the sauna with that, 30 minutes twice a week for 3 weeks, not even that long. So imagine if you had an athletic event coming up and you used a sauna like that, you'd really have a really amazing change in your ability to perform. Number 4, recovery. So now heat shock proteins are known to get involved with autophagy, right? So they break down half beaten up and near useless cells. So imagine you lift weights, you go for a run, and you break down the body, and it says, okay, I'm going to get rid of some cells, I'm going to build some stronger ones, I'm going to make muscle. But then you hit a sauna after that. Now what you're doing is you're speeding up that process of healing, in a sense. You're taking those not so great cells anymore, and you're metabolizing them, you're burning them for fuel, and you're making new ones. So you're literally rebuilding yourself at a higher rate after exercise, so you're recovering the muscle. Also, in the recovery category, you produce growth hormone. Now, growth hormone, if you look that up, you'd be amazed. It's kind of the hormone of youth. When people are in their teens, young people in their teens, when they can't get out of bed in the morning and they're groggy till noon, that's the production of growth hormone all night. We make it at night. And it's such a builder of the body that people can actually feel fatigued as it's going on. But when you first produce it, and then the effects of building that up, like you produce it while you're sleeping, you're going to feel fantastic after that. Once the body rebuilds itself, you're never going to get the amount that kids have and make you groggy in the morning. But when you get older, you make such a small amount of it. Extreme exercise, interval training can stimulate growth hormone, but it turns out a sauna brings that up. And it's such a major factor in health that you can't ignore. because growth hormones involved with such things as muscle and bone formation. Think of osteoporosis, and the relationship between muscle mass and longevity. They've talked about, the more muscle you have, the longer you live. It's kind of considered now the longevity organ. It's related to insulin and glucose relationship. So think of all the diabetics or hypoglycemics or people that are just doing keto diets or really working with keeping their carbohydrate reasonable and, maintaining a very flat glucose in their body, keeping the blood sugar reasonable. It's involved with fat metabolism. Fantastic, right? Who doesn't want to lose weight? Most people. And heart function. So big things are related to growth hormone, and you can stimulate that through sauna use. Number 5, pain management. Now, if we're going to heal faster, stimulating growth hormone, we're going to feel better by putting out endorphins. Imagine how that deals with people that are in chronic pain. So a person has multiple disc herniations, arthritis, metabolic disorders of different type, and the body the breakdown and repair process is disrupted significantly. So they end up with the end result is body pain, aches, pains, stuff like that. So by creating a stimulus to repair the body faster using these proper chemicals, we're going to be able to alleviate pain with less medication. Think about the opiate problems that we've had over the last 10, 15 years. So a sauna can be used to speed the healing process, which means you're going to decrease the pain in the body. Simple as that. And last but not least, detoxification. So when we sweat, we put out this perspiration, which has urea in it. Okay, it's think of your skin as your third kidney. It's it's a less concentrated urine, but believe it or not, that's what actually is found in your perspiration. And that's a way of getting the nitrogen balance in your body. And we won't go into all that. It's a long story, but basically you want to increase your perspiration when you can, because that's going to rid your body of a lot of toxins, just like urinating. It does it according to basic factors, how much water you drink. And there's sort of a bit of an automatic pilot going on there, but you might spend a long time not sweating. Well, I know a lot of people that's very careful and they just don't like to sweat, and they're not really utilizing that other pathway to clean their body out. And, obviously a sauna makes a super sweaty pathway. So we're going to get all that stuff out of us and clean our bodies out at a high rate. And one thing we know is there's a lot of toxins in our environment, from the processed foods to the air. There's just so much in medications people are taking. Imagine if you can, dull some of the effects of your medication by cleaning out your body a little more rapidly. That'd be something to look into. So we basically have multiple things that can go on, longevity, mental mood and acuity, improved performance, improved recovery, pain management, and then of course detoxification. So you want to get involved in sauna. Now, we just put one in our office. I have one in my house, old-fashioned, big heat coil, heats the air. What we have at the office is far infrared sauna. Now that one heats you deeper. It's more like a sunshine than it is a furnace, and it's able to create a deeper heat in your body. So you're going to get into the muscles and joints a little better and create a really great reaction. We've just opened that up because I thought, what a great way to take care of some of my patients who have all these issues, that we're just talking about, from diabetes all the way through. But of course, how do you get started? Well, first you want to check with your healthcare physician to make sure you're able to tolerate the heat in a sauna. And you want to start slow and low, right? So you don't want to go in for very long. You saw that they did a 30-minute session to test those athletes out. I like to start people somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes, depending on, sort of how delicate their health situation is. And, around 120 degrees. That might sound really hot to some people, but in a sauna, that's what you kind of need to really get the sweat going, because you're sitting still. You're not, it's not like you're exercising, like, you exercise is 90 degrees out. It's pretty rough on a person. But in a sauna, you're sitting still. And you start at about 120. For let's say you go 10 minutes if you want to be careful. You say, okay, that was interesting. And then you go up to 20 minutes and you go up. And I've seen people, do 1 hour saunas. I don't go that long. I've been doing saunas for years, and I'm in pretty good shape. So I do saunas. I turn the heat up pretty high, and I go in there for about 30 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes is enough to get it going. Long-term sauna users, they'll go to 160 degrees for 45 minutes, and that's something I've done. But you want to start out slow. You never want to do that when you first start out. Because, it's like exercise. Exercise, you get injured, you overdo it. And sauna, same thing. It's a stressor on the body. Now, we know stress makes us stronger. Too much stress breaks us down. And way too much stress can kill us, right? So we want to make sure that we're being smart about this and taking it slow, and then waiting for the benefits, and turning it up slowly and seeing what's your energy like the rest of the day. Did you feel like you really feel like peaceful and great, or do you feel like you're really drained yourself? And of course, you have to drink water during a sauna, right? I drink a boatload of water before I go in. I probably drink about 20 ounces of water before I even get in. Then I probably have another 20 ounces sitting in my bottle, and drink that while I'm in the sauna. I bring 2 towels in there, I sit on one, and then I wipe off with the other one. It's a great way, to make yourself to see the benefits. So get involved with a sauna. Like I said, we have one at our office now, far infrared. That's the latest technology. I prefer those. I think they do a little better job. They heat you a little bit deeper. And, if you like these podcasts, hey, tell other people, push the like button on this, share with people, get involved in doing some research on the different chemistry that your body goes through when it's heated up, heat shock proteins, prolactin, and some of the more interesting things having to do with the fight-flight reaction and the detoxification process in the sauna. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.